and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so we're going to begin with an approval of the minutes. We have two separate sets of minutes here, one from Wednesday, December 11th, and one from Wednesday, November 13th. Does anybody have any amendments they'd like to make to the minutes or any comments they'd like to add to them? It's fun. Getting older, not old, older.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I second that.
We could have waiting music, it would be great.
Do we get a motion?
I would love a motion for second music.
Yeah, motion. Second. It looks good to me.
All right. We need a second. Second? Perfect. All right.
Thank you. Sorry.
Moving ahead. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none. That approves. We have staff report for tonight?
No staff.
No staff report? Okay, so no staff report. And we don't have a quorum to vote on the grant funding request. But, I mean, we could have a presentation on it? Or should we wait until we have a quorum on
We
that?
should wait till we have a quorum,
Wait till we
because
have a
if
quorum
things
on
are
it.
discussed, the people who aren't here wouldn't be able, wouldn't
Correct.
be informed on that.
All right, then we will move on.
I'd like to ask the attorney,
Go ahead.
since I'm not a voting member. An applicant that has something up before the board, and the board doesn't seem to be able to have an agenda. Why can't Mr. Thomas bring it up before the commission, because they have the final say anyways?
We could try to do that with this, because will have been 2 meetings that it hasn't happened.
Absolutely, and I
And-
think that should be something that, I think it should be on any board, and boards throughout the city. Other than the planning board, we usually have pretty good attendance. But sometimes it's a little, different times, but I think that should be something that you folks should think about. And it's not fair to the applicant.
Oh, right. Well, we may have to make an adjustment to the program language to provide for that, or, another code type change that if an applicant has excessive, unmet meetings because of quorum, that they will go to the next step regardless.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Helen, go ahead.
I have an added thing to that. I'm sort of somewhat similar. I will be presenting what I want done. It took me forever because I had to have 2 bids. Orlando never answered, and everything that I needed, I just now got, and I hate to have to wait till our next meeting. Can I bring this to the city? Because all my signage is gone, and we're doing the whole wall with a mural, and it looks terrible, all scraped down, and without an awning, which has our sign. If I fill this out tonight and then bring it up to the city's meeting, could it possibly be read and passed? then?
No, ma'am. You would
okay.
have to follow the process, because you're just now initially doing an application, unlike Mr. Bidorf, who has had an application, and it's been the lack of quorum because
Yeah. But could the same thing happen to me next meeting if during bike week we don't get a quorum? Then I'd be going into April to put signage back up.
Just in general, Ms. Humphries,
Yeah.
you're making a big assumption that you're going to immediately turn it in, and then Angela, who normally sits here, will have enough time to prepare it for March meeting. You may have some things that she may require of you that doesn't allow you to appear on the March agenda. So it's whenever your application is completely reviewed and ready to bring to the redevelopment board for review, then it goes on the agenda. So you gotta wait a few minutes until Angela gets a chance to review your application with you when you turn it in.
And then I can turn it in and maybe,
Depending on the documents and the status of your application, Angela will keep in touch with you just like she did with Mr. Bidoff and tell you the next steps.
okay,
But if it comes up for March meeting, she'll let you know.
okay.
Yeah.
In all fairness, it's what it is Angela's so quick, you know, that's why you're assuming, because she's so efficient at her job. She's amazing. I'm going to tell you, from my point of view, she's A+, 5 stars.
And I agree. I work with her every day. I agree 100%.
Yes, yes.
I agree. She's
I'm
great.
just slightly below desperate to sort of get this thing rolling, and it's been.
I would like to say, in addition to what was said, that if we can figure something out to where if there's not a quorum, to where people can get kind of fast-tracked on it, that would be great, because I've seen so many applicants wait 8 months, a year, year and a half, 2 years. Not on your grants, not on your grants, not on your grants, not on your grants, but on prior, even zoning requests. I've seen people wait so long just to get there.
One last question. We aren't going to run out of, the city's not going to run out of money on these grants anytime soon, I hope.
I don't think so, but Angela would be the one who manages the budget for that account, and she can speak directly to that. Yeah.
So I can go to bed tonight and just sleep.
Sleep soundly.
Theoretically.
Thank you.
One thing I could add is, in the past, it's one thing, but in this current administration is you can sleep soundly knowing that they're going to take care of you, and
Yes.
other small businesses. Daytona Beach has been very small business friendly with me and others. This new administration under the new city manager is amazing,
Yes.
in my opinion. Thank you.
Agreed.
I feel better by the minute.
Any other comments on that?
Well, the other comment would be if you know people who live or have businesses within the Main Street CRA area or the South Atlantic, is that the correct name? South Atlantic area, you know, encourage them to apply for this board, because part of the inability to meet quorum is not having a full board.
Noted. Moving on. Public comments. We have Marlene Knight. Already? It happened fast tonight. We don't have a quorum, so it was very fast.
All right.
Please come on up.
Yes, you did. I wish I could have been more help.
Well, Helen, that's why I'm here. And it may not be the proper place, but so I have
Could you state your name and
Prepared.
address for us real quick?
Marlene Knight, 331 Lenox Avenue, Daytona Beach. So I'm on the beach side.
Hi, Marlene.
Hi. And I don't know if I should pass these out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yes?
Yeah.
All right. There you go. Thank you. That's my beautiful property
Thank
on
you.
on Beachside. It consists of 2 homes, as you can see, and they're well maintained. 331, and Volusia County counts the other one as 333 Lenox Avenue. And Volusia County classifies this property as a multifamily residence and proposes taxes on that classification. And my 2025 tax is to be $8,000 minus 71 cents. So I don't qualify for any discounts because I'm a Canadian. And so it's a lot. And of course, the city classifies this property as a single-family residence. And that's okay. I live in the front house. But what do I do with the back house? So the back house lost its license in 2009. So if it had a license in 2009, couldn't that be renewed? And couldn't we change it from multifamily or single family to 2 single families?
So,
I think she would have to, that's the planning and zoning board. It would have to
Well,
go
that's
before
why I
that.
said I was at the wrong meeting.
there's actually a couple of issues. The designation by the property appraiser has only somewhat to do with what the city calls it. They have their own classifications that don't necessarily correspond directly with what the city classifies it. What you could do is when you get your trim notice in August, if not maybe perhaps before then, do an appeal to the Value Adjustment Board, which is a county body, to attempt to get your property reclassified so it would be taxed at a single-family residential rather than multifamily.
I'm not here though, so how would I go about that?
Well, that I cannot offer you more advice on that.
Yes.
You could call the property appraiser and find out
Yes,
how
I will.
to go about that process. I don't think you would necessarily have to be here, but you might need to come down for the hearing on it.
Yes.
But there would be a process. That would be how you would handle the the tax classification. As far as the
License.
that I would have to get more information. I don't deal with that on a regular basis, and so I don't know that information off the top of my head. But potentially, it does look like it would be an accessory dwelling unit, and those rules have recently changed, and I don't.
tried.
Okay.
I am not a permanent resident. I don't qualify.
Okay. So that we would have to get somebody to help you with that. You would probably be best to go to the planning staff and talk with somebody there.
I have already.
Okay.
I wonder if she's talked to Dennis. I mean, maybe he could, probably help her more than anything. And if you wanted to, regardless of whether you're here or not, you can have an attorney,
Yes.
speak for you and handle everything while you're absent. If you want to do that, but I would say go to the the planning and staff and see if they could help you before you do anything.
Well, when I first started, before I researched everything, I thought I would go in for an amendment because I don't know anything. And of course, I've learned since that would take an awfully long time. And so I thought that's not good. So yesterday was their meeting, I believe, the planning board.
Our meeting is the 27th and 29th, I think.
It was a meeting for,
The last
the
Thursday, I
TRT. So I didn't go. I actually have a lawyer, and she said she's not ready. But I've since changed my mind about a TRT because I think it. So, what do you think I should do? Go to a meeting or?
No, I think that you should go, and this is my personal opinion, and
Yes.
I'm no attorney by any means. I think that you should go to staff and see if they could help you and recommend you, and possibly give you some advice on what you should do or can do.
But who is staff and how do I go to them?
Yes.
Oh, already.
And see if they can help you that way.
Yes.
And
I know that Missy Phillips can't do anything, and nobody can do anything at all.
well, they could give you hopefully some kind of recourse or direction of how you would like to.
Doug Gutierrez, yes. Well, I did already, and I canceled that appointment. And he said, okay, anytime you're ready, just call me back. But maybe an appointment just to discuss this? Okay, yeah, just to discuss it. Oh, I hope so. I hope so. I am. Well, you helped me by telling me about this meeting, and maybe I'll attend more meetings from now on, huh?
Please do.
So thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I believe that's all the public comments we have for tonight. So we'll move on to board comments. Let's go ahead and start counterclockwise. If anyone's got comments.
Well, essentially, I'm extremely happy because I think as a resident and proud member of this board, I can say that, like the young lady that came in front of us, the city is very friendly to people coming here to buy a home or to start a business. And my suggestion is I would run through the gamut, in my opinion, and ask code enforcement, how could you get that thing approved for a second family home?
I've asked.
You did? Really? Oh, I wish I could for you. What I found is I just love it here at this point.
I just love
You do.
it, of course.
I've seen the city grow and clean up. I've seen it have its growing pains and the broken sidewalks and the things that we talk about up here. But overall, I've watched it change drastically over the last 5 years, I think. We spent 20 years in the law, and we have a really active staff that's coming in, and a new city manager's coming in fixing problems from the past 20 years of another city manager. And just be patient. I'm sure it's going to get resolved for you. At least I pray it does.
I think this is now that I know.
I had an issue at a location I had at 326 South Grandview some years ago, and half my property is 8 units, and half my property was changed to residential, and the other half was commercial, so I couldn't occupy my building at all. And I had reached out to Ken Thomas and the city staff and the new city manager, and they straightened it out for me. Just be patient. The city is a friendly city. If you invest money in this city, they'll have your back, and they're there for you. And if they can put it with me, I'll definitely be happy to deal with you.
Good.
Okay.
No, I just want to know staff, planning staff.
The planning staff,
You mentioned the name.
Derek Fietcher is the city manager. He's very proactive. So if you reach out to him by email is the best way. He's super busy. He has to deal with all of us complaining. I complain quite a bit. I don't mean to. And I believe you're going to get something done positive. And I'm so glad you chose to buy a house here in Daytona. And I appreciate you. Thank you.
So much.
I know these things cost money, so I have all of these.
Yeah, I do.
All right. Anybody who wants to give it back?
Yes, because it costs money to do.
It costs a lot of money for you to do that.
Now I'll go to another board.
Yes.
Anything else, Helen?
Mine is just an apology. Last meeting, I never get sick, haven't been sick for 7 years, and I got whatever virus.
Lucky
that
you.
it hit. Tuesday night, I couldn't call, I live alone, and there was no way, so I missed last month's meeting, so I apologize.
You're done. Thank you, Helen. And it's fine, we all miss meetings. You're here for most of them.
Yes.
You are here for most of them. I'm going to go ahead and probably take up Mr. Libby's space and be a little long-winded tonight. Not as long-winded as Mr. Libby, probably, but a little bit.
Is this his last meeting?
He is retired. He is retired, yeah.
Oh, so he's not.
So I guess we won't see him again.
No.
Yeah, unless we go see him individually.
Well, we'll have to send him
We'll have to
some
go ahead and
sort
send
of
him our
note.
regards. Has anyone else here seen the proposed Bike Week Biketoberfest guidelines that we're having a meeting on at the Peabody on Monday? We would hope. I just saw it today. Anyone? I haven't either. Is there any way when there's stuff like this that is coming up with our zone that has to do with our zone that we can get notified on it and actually get the documents so we can see it? Because I knew about the meeting, but I only knew about the meeting last week, and that was only by happenstance because I talked to my neighbors on the street. Then I only actually got the paperwork on it because I took the time out of my day to go down to my neighbor Jungle George's and use his printer that works at the light speed of 1950 to print out every single piece of paperwork and the document. I couldn't find it anywhere else on the city website because we all know city websites aren't the best. So it's the proposed guidelines. I believe it's from the chamber. It is from...
The chamber handles Bike Week.
Well, it's still our zone.
Oh, I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
And Amy is a board member, I think, over at the chamber.
Okay.
So this meeting is?
This is on President's Day, this Monday, at the Peabody Auditorium at 6 p.m. I didn't know about it, and I had no way to find the paperwork on it otherwise. It would be nice, I know it's of no fault of anyone, but it would just be nice to get the notification prior and know what's going on and be able to review the paperwork. That way, when we do have people in the neighborhood talk to us about it, we at least know what's going on ahead of time and have the chance to review it ahead of time. It would be really nice, because, I mean, I know it's not necessarily our board, but it is still our zone. It is still the constituents in our zone. It is still who we're representing. It would be really, really nice to be able to see that.
They're talking about changes to the master.
They are talking about changes to the plan. Yeah, they are talking about changes for the plan.
That's important.
It is important. Yeah, it is important. Absolutely important. And then moving on, I mean, I have sat on this board for years and just kind of listened to a lot of, I mean, we listen to things about grass, trees, parking lots, ballards, which are all fun and good. I'm more worried about the economic status of our area and how our redevelopment is going to go economic growth, because really that's what's going to bolster our, whether the businesses thrive, the people who work in the businesses thrive, whether their families thrive. And I mean, this stuff directly affects our area. I mean, Bike Week has been a big issue in our area for a long time. Everyone thinks the city wants to get rid of it. Obviously, the city doesn't want to get rid of it. But there are issues with it. You know, I mean, we have itinerant vending issues all the time. Personally, I think a big issue we have in the area is that a lot of itinerant vendors come in and we keep our buildings empty for them to come in. So we don't have businesses open year round. It's a big issue. And then we don't have any real way of enforcing that these businesses are actually open every day. And, you know, you can put a t-shirt shop in and say it's open, but is it really open? Is the door cracked and someone's in the back on the computer playing games or smoking cigarettes or whatever? Or is it open? Is it a real business? I mean, we have code enforcement that does more for the area than what that actually does for our area. I would think that that's a bigger issue for our area than code enforcement is. Enforcing codes is one thing, but we have so many rules and regulations that haven't for our area. So I'm sure you guys will find 20 years ago they don't make it. I found issue personally with some of the things that they have going. Big meeting, which is a whole nother reason why it's like, why didn't we find out about this earlier? I mean, everyone knows I own a tattoo shop. When I opened my tattoo shop, there were no tattoo shops in Daytona. I had to personally zone our shop, well, myself and my wife and whoever else we could come up with to help us support, had to rezone it as a planned development, go through an 8-month lengthy process, spend all the money on it, wait on the time to open it up. That's fine and good, and other people have done it since, and I've recused myself from that because I believe the free market should dictate what happens in our area. But now under these new guidelines that none of us know about, and only people in the neighborhood are finding about now, I also find out that now we want to have itinerant vendors in the area that have tattoo shops. We want to have them outdoors. We want to bring them into wherever they can be brought in and only have possibly health department guidelines from what I'm reading. And I mean, whether or not the health department is actually going to be able to inspect every single one of them, I don't know. I mean, Kira, do you know how many tattoo shops we have in our area now versus what we had in our area 10 years ago?
No.
I know we didn't have any. I know. Now we have, I mean, I would say it'd be worth the city's wait to take account of how many we have now and how many actual tattoo artist applicants we have now, because it's not just, this isn't just a me thing. Like, I'm not concerned about my business per se. It's, we're going to get people who come into town. They're not going to be accountable to anyone in town because they're going to come into town, they're going to leave town. And then what happens when people who are either living in town or visiting town get something done and A, either they're unhappy with it, or B, it gets infected because they're doing something outdoors or in a shoddy sort of area. It leaves our city with a bad name, which is the whole reason things like this were zoned out of our city to begin with. So now that we're finally making headway, it doesn't make sense to shoot ourselves in the feet and go ahead and let this open up. I mean, it's on top of the fact that I think it's a public concern. I mean, it's not going to do anything good for our local economy. Since we first had this open up in the area, I think the arts is important to any redevelopment area, not just tattooing, arts in general. Any arts, public arts, murals, painting, all sorts of arts. Now we have several tattoo shops in the area, which is good. You know, that wasn't how it started out, and it's been relaxed. Now we have more. What happens when we let all these itinerant vendors in who come in only when the pay is good, when other people are in here all year round? They're anchored here all year round. They have homes here all year round. They have families here all year round. They have businesses here all year round. And then they're going to have to compete with, you know, Dick, Tom, and Harry, who come into town from wherever to compete with them. And not even necessarily compete, because let's be honest, not everyone is discerning in the middle of an event. Everyone's having a good time. So, I mean, there is competition, but then at the same time, there's also that concern. So, I mean, I'm concerned with that amount of what I saw, and I'm concerned with the fact that I didn't even see about this until today. And I mean, ultimately, as a business owner, I mean, I'm accountable for everyone that works at my place of business. I'm accountable for their families' futures. I would think the city would feel accountable for every single business and resident that's within its limits, and why they would want to push something like this forward just to possibly make more tax revenue off of permits and licensing. I mean,
How much more? is
mine
that?
have already doubled in quantity and in cost. So, which is fine, that's okay. But to go ahead and then just say, okay, well, the pay is good on this, let's go ahead and see how much more pay we can get off of this and go ahead and let it in for everyone else, it just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it's one thing to do it with leather vendors, Because let's be honest, our only American leather vendor that was on the street has been gone for a while. They couldn't compete, so that's fine. But when you're doing it with people, it just doesn't make sense to me to do it with normal businesses who are in town. So I'm concerned about that. So that's all I wanted to speak on.
I think you have some legitimate concerns.
Thank you.
Definitely,
Okay.
it's on the website. I saw it was posted.
Yeah, I just,
February 10th. Yeah,
Mhm. Just on Monday. Yep.
Robert,
Go ahead,
I agree with you. You know, having a bar and restaurant, though, competition is necessarily good, but it's not really good. The thing that bothers me with the tattoos is you have professional people that they're invested in their community. And it's not the competition that bothers me, because I have competition. I have a bar, and I serve
Competition is
food,
fine.
and you're going to have these vendors out here. But what really worries me is people's health. Now, if I'm getting a tattoo, I know certain things about health, because, you know, you got contaminated areas. They could be touching it. It's outside. It's just not safe. It's not safe to be, you know, doing that, in my opinion. I'm not an expert, but I learned how to tattoo because I've helped people with addictions, and that's how somebody repaid me by teaching me how to be an artist. And I think that when a person, because currently I'm dealing with it on East ISB, I have right across the street from me, you know, beaches can have vendors and I can't, and which is a big hurt for me personally, which I don't think that's fair, but I'm only right across the street. But for the tattoos, for these people that are trying to make money year round with the tattoos, it wouldn't be right to have a vendor doing tattoos right by a place that's paying taxes year round and supporting their family. And that's one thing that bothers me. It's just like if I did vendors, I wouldn't have 10 hot dog vendors all competing with each other next to a hot dog store that's there year round. This is not right, in my opinion.
Even when it comes to bars, it would be like having a pop-up bar that happened on the street to compete with the long-established bars that have been there on the street. It just doesn't
Make sense.
doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So I have no problems with the events. I have no problems with the vendors because I think it helps us year round survive with our businesses. Damn, I'd love to have vendors, but tattoo vendors, it scares the hell out of me because, you know, you got artists working. Where is your tattoo shop?
It's on Main Street. We're
Which
right
one?
across from the barber shop. Well, where they moved to now. We're 2 doors down from the Harley Davidson shop. Their little satellite
Oh,
shop.
that's a beautiful place,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, nice old building there. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful what you've done in there. So I definitely support what you're saying. God bless you. And God bless you for creating jobs for people and helping support families locally.
Thank you. Go ahead, Helen.
There's one little thing that done, and the empty lot next to us, all of a sudden there's a food truck there. And I went out, no, but can you let me use your license? I went, no, that's not possible. I don't have a food license. So we got one of those police tapes and we ran it across the empty property and they left. Then another time, a thing with a donkey in the back and musician, young kid. He
I know
said,
them.
On my parking
One of his
lot,
sons used to tattoo for me. I know them.
the
Yeah, I know them.
The police came to me and said, you have an illegal event on your property.
Yep.
I said, no, I don't. And they were out there.
It's a mini horse, not a donkey, by the
Yeah,
way.
I know.
Yes, it's a mini horse.
Yeah. But I mean, so we put a tape out there, so they knew they couldn't be there. So I don't call the city, I just quietly.
Right, just quietly go out there and tape it off. You have anything, Gary?
You've opened up a really interesting topic there, actually.
Yeah, you know, I just found out about it, so.
I mean, just with the itinerant vending, that's
The itinerant vending, yeah, it's,
a very contentious issue for quite a
It
long
is.
time.
It is.
And, you know, just to take us back to the beginning of Bike Week, I don't know if most people know why Bike Week was started. Because there's nothing else going on that time of year, and they thought,
wait.
what can we do?
Races is why it started.
What's that? Well, yes,
Racing
it
is why it started. Let's be honest
is.
here.
But they figured,
As a motorcycle enthusiast,
It is.
racing.
I agree. But
racing.
but they said, let's do a festival because it would help the local economy.
Yes.
So then
Yes.
from something that was supposed, its inception was to help the local economy, now we got people coming into town making quite a lot of money with these
Yes.
itinerant vending tents
I have
and then
to-
taking it out of town.
I need to, first of all, the word itinerant, there are ones that set up that have no business there.
Sure.
On my property,
Mhm.
they pay me a big sum, they
Yeah.
get a license, everything has to be upscale. If someone buys something and doesn't like it, they get their money back.
Sure.
There's no question,
Mhm.
and they keep their place neat. Then you have ones that show up like mosquitoes come
Oh,
on
like
rainy
circuses.
times. I have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
They're not on my property, and I've had the same people for
Yeah, yeah.
15 years.
Mm.
So they're not itinerant. They
Yeah.
rent the store,
Hmm. I think we need a little bit more control when it comes to that kind of stuff, because if we talk about the general health of Daytona's economy, which has come up quite a lot in conversation lately, it's not the best it could be. You know, I was reading this magazine article about Daytona in Florida trend, about business in general in Florida, and they said, oh, Daytona's being discovered. And then they made kind of a off-the-cuff comment to make fun of it. They're like, being discovered, you're one of the richest, you're one of the cities with the richest history in the state of Florida. You're one of the 8 oldest cities. What do you mean you're being discovered? We're being forgotten, to be honest, because if people travel enough and you visit all these other towns in Florida, St. Augustine is doing tremendously well. New Smyrna, DeLand, Sanford, all of these cities are really moving forward quite quickly, and we're being left in the dust because of the same problems that have existed for the last 25, 30 years. Case in point, the boardwalk. You know, we've got an unsightly core area. The boardwalk is the engine of our community, and it's in the state that it's in for the last 25, 30 years. That's unacceptable. I tell people, I'll give you $5,000. You show me another city that's got their core tourist area in decay like that, you're not going to find it. It doesn't exist.
I agree. So why has the boardwalk area had such problems? And with characters, our problem too, I grew up in this beach.
Sure.
So I'm
We know
so
the
much
history.
older. Yeah. And one of the things that hurt was when Disney set up over there. I know my parents had a motel. People would come for 2 weeks,
Mhm.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Now they come for 1 day because they're staying over there. That has hurt.
Mhm.
The other is our beach has changed dramatically. The
Well-
tide comes all the way up, hits the wall there. I
The-
grew up there. When I walked off our motel,
Sure.
it was straight onto the beach.
Mhm.
There was no drop. The motel's still there, same thing. The drop is almost 23 feet down.
Well, that brings up another issue with replenishment.
Well, yeah. but
Every
you
other
can't.
beach,
You can't. You can't.
you have to.
Reality.
You have to, because Miami Beach does it, Myrtle
Yes.
Beach does it, Virginia Beach does it, Ocean
Exactly.
City does it.
Yes.
All these other beaches do it. It
Yes.
can be done.
But
Absolutely.
we didn't have to get to that point, because the last part that I'll tell, and I won't be
Mm-hmm.
like somebody who used to be here, there were huge sand dunes from our seawall.
Yeah.
It was just old palm trees. There was always a great big sand thing.
Sure.
Then a company from New York came, went to Tallahassee, got permission to build like 80 feet out. This went over the sand dunes. That was the beginning of the end of our beach, because there's no way for the beach to build back up. And that's where we are now. So we have motels that build way out there, and they have their swimming pools. Ours was way back here. Once they built out there, a tide would come in, it would come around ours and just suck it out, and our whole seawall fell. It's because we've changed the way the tide, we can't go back. There's no way to
Well,
go back.
Mother Nature's changed, and we can't
Well,
fight that either.
no,
And if
but-
those walls weren't there, you might have lost A1A, and the beach would have come even further.
We're losing
So that's
A1A.
kind of debatable too.
Yeah, we're losing
So-
A1A
Absolutely.
a couple of times
Yeah.
every couple of.
Point being, we got what we got. We got to work with it,
Exactly.
but we got to do a much better job of managing what we have, because the funniest analogy that I heard from a buddy of mine, he's like, there's a city out there that says, hey, if I had a beach, we'd have something interesting to offer our tourists. And no, the one said, If we had the river, we'd have something interesting to offer. And another one said bike week and race week. And when we had spring break, we had it all. And now what are we left with? You know, we're left with tumbleweed. You know, we're not really the tourist destination that we used to be, which brings up another item that I was going to bring up if we were going to have a regular meeting. And that's pertaining to the pier that they're talking about now. You know, if there was one thing that Daytona really should put all their eggs in one basket, I would try to get this pier done as fast as possible, because that pier.
That's a great idea.
And they're talking about, you know, because they had some conceptual drawing. We've been talking about a pier for quite a while, actually. You know, but it's all talk. We need to move past the pier. So they're talking about extra wide concrete. Almost every city in Florida has concrete piers. We're the only ones without one. So do your concrete pier, put your amusement rides on there, make it, you know, a focal point of the beachside, and I guarantee you that boardwalk is going to redevelop on its
It'll
own.
redevelop on its own.
Absolutely.
That will do all the work that we need to get done.
Without it being concrete, we're just going to
Because
keep
I remember when I
rebuilding
first
it.
started coming here 7-8 months ago, I'm like complaining like one of those Seinfeld characters about the lights that don't work on A1A. They finally fixed the majority of them, but there's still 40, 50 of them out, right? And it looks 10 times better now, but the FPL, I think, could be a much better partner to Daytona than what they actually are. And I remember I think you had a meeting.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Right? I don't know if
Yep.
Mr. Fiacher was there too.
Yep.
And, you know, maybe a little bit more pressure, you know, to finally finish the job, because it looks like a 10 times better place just with the lights working. You know, and that's what we need to do. We need to like maintain some kind of minimum appearance standards, because, you know, why are we not at the point of being, you know, a tourist destination in Florida? Because people come over to the beachside and they're like, oh, this is it? This is what you got? This is not enough.
Well, I don't think
We
the
need a
problem
little
is
bit
we're
more.
not a tourist destination. We are a tourist
We're not a
destination.
we're
The
not a
problem is that
major
they get
one.
here and they go, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
all right.
We could do a better job,
Yeah,
actually.
we could do better.
Yeah.
We could do
Where's
better.
the kiosk? Where are we on the kiosk?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because people will come from the Hilton, walk partly down Main Street, assume there's nothing.
Yeah.
We used to, many years ago, have a kiosk, and I had my business there in Maine. The other thing is, what would we replace Bike Week with? It
Well, there's no
is
replacing Bike
our
Week.
Yeah.
biggest
Nothing.
time of
There's no replacing
year.
Bike Week. We just need to
Want Bike
manage
Week
it
to
better.
stay.
They come from Europe and they walk in.
100%.
Yeah.
And what you see racing around making noise is not the customers that
Sure.
come.
Oh, it's a
What
beautiful
comes
event.
from
Yeah.
overseas, and we stay open until midnight.
Mm-hmm.
They're still coming in, and we have yet to have a drunk.
Sure,
They
absolutely.
go to the bars, they don't come in my store.
Go ahead, Will.
So it's different than what people realize. These are wealthy people and they love Daytona. We make 1,500 Bike Week coins,
Nice.
and they're numbered. So they come in every year to get their coin. They register for the next year, and we write their invoices very slowly so they walk around the store. And yeah, but they love Daytona.
One more thing I'd like to bring up is when you go to Ormond Beach, when you go to New Smyrna, Main Street did an okay job during the holidays. We're the most drab-looking city during the holidays. You know, I said something to Angela. I'm like, why don't they turn the tree on before Thanksgiving? For some reason, I think they would wait till after Thanksgiving. And she said something, and they put the tree on when we actually have a pretty good Thanksgiving season on the beach side. Why would you not make it as appealing as possible?
Yes.
Throw a little decorations up and down A1A. Do something to be a little proud of the beach side. There's not a lot to be proud of the beach side. I mean, I've been here since I was 10 years old, and I've seen it all, and I don't want to be one of those people that complain all the time, you know, but I've got businesses, I work on the beach side, I drive it, I see it, and it's just irritating sometimes because I know it can be so much better than what it is.
And you've been here since you were 10.
Sure.
And I'll bet, no, I won't bet that. I'll bet this much, that you've never been in Humphreys. I bet.
I have, actually. Yeah, I've met your son in there a few times. I've been in there.
Well, all right, I hate to take this.
That's okay. I've had some stuff repaired in there, actually. I've been in there.
Okay,
You have a very nice shop, actually.
thank you,
No, I
sir.
love it.
Very nice.
Well, I want to say, we do have a lot of things to be upset about. We also have a lot of things to be happy about.
Yes.
I think that, for one, we have the engineers to do these things. We just got to be able to use these events maybe to put money aside and to develop that, use that money from these events or create money from the events to help replenish the beach and use the great engineers that we have and the city staff that we have. Because I think this is the best city in the world to me, personally. And to start fixing the problems that we're all talking about, and then essentially, from my understanding, the events were created, as far as I know, to fix blighted areas. I read something about blighted areas. That's in Daytona. East ISB is a blighted area, but we're not allowed to partake. Now, I understand why. I'm not complaining. I understand why, because I got bars around me that are doing crazy events and they're bothering the neighbors, and they're crazy, and they're parking everywhere. But for the people that have the land, which I say that even like myself, we can't do that because we're on the wrong side of the street. It's like we're picking the winners and losers. But the whole point of the matter is when you have majority of that street empty, and you got these people over here allowed to do it, when people drive through town, it looks like a mess. It looks a mess, So my suggestion is, and I'm not complaining because I love the city. I'm not complaining. But that's just, I see it as part of a big problem. Not problem of this administration, because this administration is trying to come in and fix the mistakes from the past years.
Not easy chore.
And it's not an easy chore, because it's much easier, as my grandfather said, do it right the first time, because it's hard to fix the second time, and that's, hate to say it, that's what you're all have to do, is fix somebody else's mistakes. And I'm sorry.
Are we done with A1A? Or no, not A1A, ISB, the remodeling?
Almost.
That's it? That's all we get is just grass?
No, I'll find out when the completion date is. But I don't
No
think
trees,
we're done.
nothing?
Yeah, I don't think we're done.
Oh, I hope not.
Yeah, I don't think
'Cause
we're
that's a
done.
lot of
There's no
work,
trees
actually.
yet or anything. I don't think we're done.
Why did we put grass in the middle? That makes no sense. Put native daisies that nobody has to do anything to, including water.
Yeah.
They grow here naturally, but I see now they put grass, which means somebody's gonna have to mow it in the middle of the street. Yeah.
One question I had for Robert, what's the website where you found this? Where do you find this information, what they're going to do with Bike Week?
It's the problem. I didn't find it on the website. I had to
City's
directly get
website.
it.
City's website?
I
sir?
couldn't find the link on there that had the full packet on there. I found the information about what day the meeting was, but I could not find the full information about what they're planning on changing. So if you have that, absolutely share it, but I couldn't find it.
Jeff
10
and
a.m.?
Rose, Jeff.
What time?
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
6 p.m. Monday, President's Day,
Yeah, I don't know if you download the app.
at the Peabody.
Download
I
the
saw
app
it
as
somewhere,
well.
but I don't know where I was browsing.
Yes, sir.
I happened to come across it.
It's on the app when you open it up.
The meeting date is,
The meeting date is, not all the information, correct?
I was
Yeah,
not able to.
yeah, I could not
locate it.
find all the information. The meeting date is on there. It is 6 p.m. at the Peabody Auditorium on Monday, President's Day.
Is this from the city or the chamber?
The city staff is hosting.
City staff from the Halifax, whatever authority and the chamber and,
I
yeah.
think it's a combination.
It's a combination
of people.
quite a few different people,
It's the economic development staff of the city that are responsible for this.
Correct, correct.
So,
Or is it one of those things where they're notifying of potential changes to see
I
if they
believe
make
so.
sense, or they're going to let us know what they're going to do?
Can I read the announcement? Because the
Absolutely.
announcement is the only information we have.
Absolutely.
It says the city is hosting a community meeting to review proposed changes to the biker event master plan guidelines. When, Monday, February 17th at 6 p.m. Where? Peabody Auditorium, 600 Auditorium Boulevard. Join Jeff Brown and Rose Askew as they discuss important topics including permit procedures, parking, event fees, appeal process. This is your chance to get involved and have a voice heard.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle.
Does anybody have anything else to add tonight?
Nothing other than, we just got to remember, we're all here for the reason we care about the city. And I'm sure all the staff here does, because I've never seen a staff as dedicated as they have been since I've lived here for too long. I don't want to mention how old I am. But in general, I would like to see it to where we don't hurt our local tattoo artists by bringing in people with trucks and trailers.
I would say any local business, not even tattoo, just any local business.
Well, that would be nice. I can't.
That's
myself,
hard.
It
That's
gets
hard.
me too.
That's hard, but I think that's the goal. If we can find a harmonious balance between it, because we need Bike Week, but I think we can find a balance between having it and having our local businesses thrive as well.
Absolutely, I would know that. But I'd like to see it where it's spread out, because what's killed me every year is when I drive down East ISB, it's a dead zone. It's just a dead zone during the event, and when people come through there, they'd be like, "Well, God, Daytona's, And I say, well, not too much I can do. I'm not allowed to do it. That's what I try to explain.
I think something important to also consider is, when people come here and they've never been to Daytona and they attempt to do something here, these guys are pulling their hair out.
Oh, it's
because
very difficult.
It is incredibly difficult to accomplish what is simple and not that complicated in other cities. I don't know why it's so difficult here.
Well, I can answer that.
I agree. There are lots of hoops to jump
It's
through.
incredibly difficult.
Lots of hoops to jump through.
And this, if we're going to add this to the Bike Week plan, this is going to complicate it even more. This is not simplifying it.
No.
The problem is that the city gives people an inch and they take a mile. Like, I've been in the bar business for years. I got bars around me that they're spilling out into parking in my yards of places that I have, because they don't have adequate parking on my street. They're throwing their beer bottles everywhere. They're making a mess. They're breaking windows when they leave bars. It's not necessarily the city's fault. I think it's a difficult thing. It's a slippery slope. We have to be really careful what we do as a city. I think it's got to be easier for businesses like myself to be part of Bike Week, even though I'm on East ISB goes this way and one side can do it and you cross the street and the other side can. It's a little difficult. I think it looks bad for visitors coming here, making it difficult for the owners. I mean, I'd hate to have a tattoo truck where somebody's doing tattoos and here he is year round doing tattoos and suffering. That's all.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. It just kills your business.
Correct. Thank you, Will. All right, meeting adjourned.